Hi guys, Dandelion Song back here for part 2, and you've probably already seen the picture of what this clock actually looked like. In this video we end up doing a lot of gematria. We find a lot of interesting ties having to do with the Pope, and then we do find something that I do think is kind of a bombshell, so you want to wait for this. That clock bomb does have a 9/11 in the gematria, so stay tuned for that. I think that really does tie this nicely together with a bow, that we have bomb confusion over a clock. We have people posing with 9/11 on the clock, and then clock bomb 9/11 is also code for clock bomb, and clock bomb is code for 9/11. So I think that might be our take-home hidden code message here. And then I think this is going to have to do with Obama's tweet where he invites this to the White House. So he might bring this precise child to the White House. Wouldn't put it past these guys to do this. I mean, it's all about the theater, it's all about the tragedy. So we just have to stay tuned, stay sober, stay awake, and see what's going on. Most of the depictions of this clock make it look like a clock, but I guess this is the picture of what he actually brought to school. This is a picture of what he actually brought to school, and this is a picture of an actual suitcase bomb. So you can kind of see that something's going on here besides just a simple misunderstanding with a Muslim child. That this was a bait. They baited the teacher. The teacher did what probably many teachers would do when they saw something like this. Just the teacher, just to mention this to the authorities. And so the teacher took the bait, basically, or the whole school took the bait. But there was some kind of bait involved here, it seems like. Oh, so I just wanted to say that had the teacher ignored this this clock, they're saying it's a clock, but if a kid brought this into your class, any kid of any color brought this into your class, I think that most teachers would report something like this. And I don't know if he reported it or if he just told the child to not bring it around the school. I'm not an expert on this story, but I'm not really treating this like a real story, but since so many people are treating it like a real story, I think that people need to stop and think about how had the teacher, if this had been something what it looks like, because it does look similar to a suitcase bomb, had he ignored it, I think that there would have, and if it had been an actual bomb, not saying that the child would have done that, but maybe somebody could have passed something like that to the child, or maybe the child could have thought he was working on a clock and he actually wasn't working on a clock. But I actually don't think this was a real child, and I actually don't think this is a real story. And the reason why is because we see all of these clock and codes in here. And I guess what's underlined about that is that this picture and the other picture became so famous. The one that's on this one became so famous. However, this is not a suitcase filled with wires and circuit boards. If he was holding a suitcase with wires and circuit boards and a smile on his face, I think it would be a different kind of a story. So that's why I feel like there's something else going on. There's some kind of, this is the first step of a longer step strategy. So CNN is really running with the story from this version of that it was wrongly handled, and that is your clue to just go ahead and take a look in the opposite direction. So we have more code on this page. This is a page, this is an opinion page, and it talks about that he got arrested on the, with a 33. The number of his time had a 33. I gematriated this statement here, except it was a clock, because when they separate it out like this, it shows you that it's a special kind of code. And that statement does have some hidden aspects in it. It has the synagogue of Satan behind it. In the English gematria, it has the Star-Spangled Banner. as an esoteric equivalent, has Aleister Crowley behind this statement, which is, except it was a clock. And so do you see the deception? Because it didn't look like a clock, apparently, like I wasn't there, but it looks like it looked more sinister than a clock. You know, maybe clocks aren't easy to build, and maybe they're not easy to build to look like clocks, I'm not sure. Bloodline of King David is also one of these associations. The United States exactly matches, except it was a clock. This is also the writing on the wall of Daniel 5 right here. So this, I don't remember exactly what connection this had, but this had a connection to the Philadelphia gematria that I did. This has an esoteric connection to the Rosicrucian order. So these are the kinds of codes that you find hidden in here. So they're saying the clock didn't look like a bomb. Other people are saying that it does look like a bomb. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like CNN's not telling the truth about what the clock really looked like. I'm not sure. We have a term that needs to be gematria, Islamophobia, and it has a 33-degree Mason number on it, just like the time that's at the top of this article that was his arrest time. So here we have this statement in quotation, surrounded by 5 police and he was handcuffed. And when we put that into the gematria counter, we get a date, 9/24. In somewhere in here it says, it has the statement that he's, oh here it is, scared but happy now. So we take that, put that into the gematria counter, and we find, oops, I'm on the wrong page. Then we find there is a 266 in here, which is a 923. Another way of writing a 923. And this is also a little bit like a 23 and a 24 too, and we saw that date in another one of these. I think I already wrote over it. Oh, here's where we saw the 924. So here's the picture, the CNN picture of this in their video. So here it says clock arrest and social media responds. So I put that in the gematria account. First, I just want to show you that social media responds equals 201 in the simple gematria and 1206 in the English gematria, which is the diameter of time for the zodiac age, and it also equals the original name of the Pope. So I'm kind of glad, I think we have a Pope connection here, at least in this code of this. So I didn't see a lot in the earlier one. Also, there are some ties up here having to do with Revelations. Okay, well, I looked at clock arrest and nothing jumped out at me. I'm going to go back and look at it again, but arrest does have the days of the year in it, so this might be a pi reference, a full circle of the year. This is 2 9s, and we've seen that having to do with other Pope numbers because they associate themselves with the 9s. And then here we have an 86. And in the Jewish gematria, here are the associations. Probably Fox being the most pertinent one here. In the English gematria, we have Venus, which is the embodiment of Isis, Horus, who we see on the Washington Mall, some other of these Jewish Holy Week type of references. Elephant is very interesting because it represents the Republicans, but also it has the 923 in its Jewish gematria, and the Fool also has a 923 in its Jewish gematria. And the Fool often plays, so these are full matches. The Fool. So the reason why the elephant is right in there too, and I had elephant occur to me a couple times in the dream time, and it does have the 923 as well. This is symbolic of Ganesha, symbolic of the Republican Party. Right now we've seen a resurgence of Ganesha symbolism. Not that that's either bad or good. The Ganesha symbolism seems actually human friendly. I don't understand enough about it to speak about it, but that just to pay attention to all of these symbols that are arising right now. For example, on the Grok's channel, I don't watch him as much as I used to, but he has a lot of good decodes of the Economist covers, which symbolize the rising of the red, which would be the rising of the red side, the Republican Party, and that would be having to do with the elephant, and that of course would also affect the path of the Fool. So all these symbols tied together in this manner. Just to each other, the Fool and the elephant match each other. And then we also have wizard and some other esoteric matches with this word arrest. So if we can think of clock as 44, which is kill, and arrest, which has these esoteric connections plus these numbers, you start to get an idea of what the code here, what this code actually is. Okay, so clock is 44, which is kill in the simple gematria. 264 is 2 off of 266. I'm not sure whether there's also a 64 is an 8-8 here, which is a 16. So you can think of it that way. If this was a 16, another way to think of that is it would be a 216, which would be the Baphomet number, or the 2160, which is also a George. It's the number that matches the first name of the Pope that I just talked about. And then clock also equals 86, and we've seen that stock market equals 68, or stock equals 68, market equals 68. Stock market has a Bride of Christ reference, which is basically the 816. And so that is an important, that's an important reference. This might be important, having seen those 911s on those clocks, is that clock bomb itself has the English gematria of 911. You can see here, this is a 9 and that's an 11. All right, well, we'll go into this a little bit more in the next part, but I just want to show you that now it makes sense for them to stand there holding a clock that has a 911 on it, and that it was a bomb confusion, and that clock bomb equals 911. The true code starts to kind of rise to the surface. All we need to do is stir the pot and stir the numbers, and things start to make a little more sense. All right, well, stay tuned, guys.